Good day, everyone. Suzanne Collins here, and today we're going to head to the craft room and we're going to have a look at principles on making decorative overlay mats using your Standalone Creative Memories border punches. Today's lesson works in conjunction with another video I did make on creating decorative overlay mats using the Creative Memories Border Maker cartridge system. So if you have not checked that one out, please do so. Let's have some fun making some overlay mats with our standalone punches. Now, the Creative Memories standalone punches, there are 3 types. The first of the standalone border punches we're going to be looking at are our frame border punches, and they are distinguishable from the other punches because you'll see on the side by the guide it has a broken line in it which will show you where you line up your edges for making corners. The image surface itself is a 2-inch gap versus the 2.4 in the other punches, and this gives you all your even spacing to go around 12 by 12 sheets quite easily. This is also used as a border punch, mats, everything else. Creative Memories has a video on how to use this punch, so I don't really have to show you how to do it, but I will give you a quick little demo. My demonstration I'm going to be doing on white cardstock, so it's easier for you to see. But basically, take your punch, you're going to open it up by sliding the lever in the back, and we're going to start by inserting our paper into the punch. When you're starting on your edge to go around corners, you're going to be lining up the edge of your paper with the silver line on the side of the punch. Not past, not over, even with that line. So we're going to slide that in, and we're going to make our first punch. Then we just start following the guide itself on the display thing, and we're going to be matching up our paper to the image on the mat, on the guide. Make sure your other edge is always flush to the back to keep everything square, and we're going to just go along. It will take you 5 punches to get to your corner, and then we'll take out our page and rotate it, and again we're going to slide it in at the guide mark and continue the rest of the way around our page. And there we have the pedal frame mat. In the frame, there's also the Baroque frame punch and the arch frame punch. Here's an example of the Baroque frame mat, and you can see how easily that works. Just adding photos to a page, to a bit of cropping, and you're all set to go. The next punch I want to talk about are your standalone border punches that are a chain punch. Like the Border Maker system, your chain punches will cut away both top and bottom, leaving you an image in the middle. And because they will cut away from the paper and we're trying to create a mat, we don't want to punch the whole way along our cartridge. Here's an example of a overlay mat I made using a chain standalone border cartridge. So what you want to do is basically start in the center and work your way out with 3 punches, and you're going to have to leave your corners so the overlay does not detach. To finish your corners, you can add a decorative square, you can add a sticker embellishment, anything else you'd like to finish your page, but it just looks so sharp. So I will show you how to mark your page and punch using this technique. So first, we're going to start with our cartridge. This time I think I'm going to use the birds. And you're going to want to mark your cartridge in the center so you know where your center of your punch is. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, because of the angle of my camera, it looks like a little bit more. But if you use your 0 centering ruler and you mark your ruler from the 0 to the 1 3/16 line, which is the one in between the 1/8 and the 1 1/4 on both sides, you'll see exactly where your 0 center is. And you can go in and mark your punch at the 0 mark. So once you have your cartridge mark, you're going to want to mark the page that you're working on. So I'm going to take my 0 centering ruler and lay it on my 12-inch page, and I'm going to mark the center. Because my punch is sliding in, I won't be able to see the outside edge, so I'm going to mark my center at 0 at the inside edge. So I'm just going to give 4 little check marks on the inside edge at the 0 line. To the side. There's our 0 line. We'll slide across to the other side. To our 0 line, like so. Once the punch is marked, we're going to open up our cartridge and slide it inside so that the center of your punch matches your center line on your page. Once that's done, we're going to punch our center and then follow our guide on either side, and we're just going to go on 1 punch on either side of our center punch. And that's 1 edge done. We'll just rotate and you can do the same thing for the other 3 sides. Another mat done. Last set of punches we'll be examining are your attached punches. And these are the ones that will cut away at the top edge of the page but still remain at the bottom edge. So it's a little easier to make a decorative mat. There are principles with these punches that will distinguish them and make them a little bit different. Here are some of my sample sheets. And basically, I just take a single punch to have a look and see what my punch is. So when looking at your punches, there's 2 things that you always wanted to make note of. One is the width of the punch, and the majority of them will be your 2.4, just shy of 2.5 inches, to give you the 5 punches across your page to create a border. The other one is your depth, which will be from the top of your silver to where you see your image to see how deep it is. And my experimenting has been, if your image is less than 1 1/4 inches, you want to treat this punch differently than if the depth is greater than 1 3/8 inches. So I like doing my experimenting with my little 3x3 squares. So the notes I've been making, let's say for this one here, is I have marked that I am 2 1/4 inches between my, just read your marking here, just shy of the 2.5 punch. So I'm 2.4 inches from my inside of my punch, and then from the top going down, starting at the 0 at the top, I can read my numbers that easily, and I am at the 1 1/4 to the bottom of my image here. So how that relates on a page is as follows. If your punch is height-wise less than 1 1/4 inches, like this one is, I got it marked at 1 3/16, you can put 4 punches across your page, evenly spaced, and when you turn your corner edge, you won't eat into the last punch, and you actually have some overlap depth that you can play with. But we'll get on into that a bit later. So let's have a look at our palm trees. Our rule of thumb with this one is our depth of this punch was 1 1/4 inches or less. So equal or less than 1 1/4 inches. You're going to find the center of your page. You're going to line up your outside edge to the page, and you're going to end up making 4 punches. Then you're going to check your overlap to see if you can make an additional punch. What your overlap is the amount of space that your punch is going to eat into the last punch when you rotate it at the corner. And how to test for that is you're going to take your height here. So I am at 1 1/4 inches from there down to my visible area here. And I'm going to rotate it and see what happens when I add that from the edge here going down my page in this direction. So my 1 1/4 inches is at that little tiny red mark that you see. So now I know when I reverse my punch in the other direction, I will eat this much of my diagram, and that corner will still look kind of pretty. So I know I can go 1 punch further than my first 4 punches. Let's punch, and you can see how this goes. I'm gonna work on white so it's easier for you guys to see. The first thing we want to do is ensure that our punch has got the center line marked on it, which this one I've done already. Otherwise you have to do that exercise first. Then we want to insert our punch in, so I am going to, again, mark my sheet where my centers are. Now because this punch has got small depth, I'm going to do 4 across. I'm going to take my sheet and I will insert it so I'll be able to get 4 punches on this page. So I'm going to line up my edge of my punch to the center line before I make my first punch. And then I can go on either side. 1 punch in each direction from my center. 2. And again, center line on this side, or line up your punches here. Number 1. Number 2. I'll finish this and then I'll talk again about overlap. Just Get rid of my garbage. And you can see how nicely those corners go. Now here I can just snip this off and I'm all set. But as you see here, if I make my fifth punch going this direction here and do one more overlap, I will actually be completing this tree. So I'm going to slide that in. I'm going to go to one last punch in this direction. And you can see how that finished that edge there. Let's just do that for all the other ones. And there we have a beautiful tropical overlay mat. You will find times in which after you finish punching your less than or equal to guide, in which you're making your 4 punches across, the edge will just finish really nicely with a snip and you don't have to add an additional punch, just like this one with my mandala punch. Likewise, you may come to the edge of your 4 punches because your page was less than or equal to 1 1/4 inches and you've made your 4 punches, but if you go to overlap your punches in the corner, it won't look pretty at all. So your options to finish there are to just leave the little square. It's very cute. Add an extra little piece that you can decorate with a sticker or something else. Give it another little mat. You can cut it off at an angle to finish the edge, or you can fold it down on itself and back to bring some of the undercolor paper through to your diagram. The extra little pieces you have sitting around the frame, you can cut off or leave them be. The choice is yours. And once again, if your punch is now greater than the 1 1/4 depth, when you measure the side, this is 1 3/8, so deeper than my 1 1/4, I'm gonna want to start my punching in the center and work my way out from there. So I'm gonna do 3 punches and then check for my overlap. So let's do that. I've already marked my 4 spots. So this time I am lining up my punch so that the center line on my dot on my page matches the dot on my punch. And I'm going to go 1 punch on either side of that center mark. Let's go all the way around and then we'll discuss overlap. So according to my little cheat sheet that I made, my depth here is 1 3/8 inches. So if I go from the inside of my punch here, measure down 1 3/8 inches, this is my red hash mark that's going to show where I'm going to cut again. So if I line this punch in one more time in this angle here, so that's flush, I'm going to get 1 more punch. And from this way here, I'll be getting 1 more before it chops off. So I'm going to be getting 1 extra cake on either side, which looks like a good thing. So I'm going to match my corner up again on my diagram, and I'm going to give it 1 more punch on either side. Number 1. Here's my corner. And you can see a little bit of overlap, but I can go in and do my cake touch-up, and I should just finish everything just fine. So if I'll snip that cake off at an angle, go straight out of my corner, then finish this cake going up. I will have a beautiful corner with cakes all the way around. So I'll finish up those other punches and you'll see the final product. So thanks once again for joining me. I'm sure you're excited to go and test all your border punches or order more so you can create some wonderful pages. If you have not done so yet, do like my video and subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications for any other postings I make. We'll see you again soon.